Well, hang on. I got a question for you.
All right.
How is your face?
My face.
Is it absolutely melted from Slam Tanny when you saw him back in March?
Oh, it appears to be gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of Vinyl Stallions. And you heard it here first. Mr. Klep saw Santana back in March. It's been just roasting in his head for a couple months, but we're here to just talk about everything. He's had some time to process it. Klep, again, how is your face?
It appears to be missing.
You are just it's like the Dementor just ripping Harry's face out, but instead this is Santana and his guitar. But not even just Santana and his guitar, because Santana is a band, which is what a lot of people forget, honestly. And it's not just Carlos, but it's the whole aspect of everyone else playing all of their instruments.
Yeah,
And
there's two Santanas in the band.
there are. And before we even dive into like the cast and crew, I just want to say for myself, and we're not going to dive into my concert, but I saw Santana back in 2019 at Blossom Music Center in Cuyahoga Falls. And the main person out of the entire band that stood out to me was the woman on the bongos and the drums. And I mentioned this to Klep. I'm just like, prepare to see her. I didn't know who she was, and she will blow your mind. Klep looks into it a little bit more. Klep, what'd you find out?
So I'll just start it right away. I think she was the most impressive performer in the band, like even more so than Carlos. And I guess in this set, she was not on the bongos at all. She was kit the full time. They had two other guys that were on, like one guy was pretty much strictly bongos. The other guy, any congos too. And then the other guy had like half of a drum kit and a bunch of different congos and bongos and
Everything to make that
miscellaneous
sweet
percussion sounds.
Santana sound. But Klep, you did some research. You looked it up. Who is this woman on drums?
Cindy Blackman Santana, Carlos's wife. They got married in 2010, or they got engaged in 2010. Carlos proposed to her right after a show.
And I had no idea when I even told you that she was my favorite part of that entire concert. But so I'm glad she stuck out to you and you got to experience exactly what I saw.
Oh, it was absolutely crazy. So and this, you will appreciate this. So the guy who was playing keys on this show, and you would have seen him too, because he's been in the band since 2011, is none other than Mr. David Matthews. We ain't talking about DMB. We're talking about David K. Matthews, the piano player.
That's a musical name, baby.
But yeah, so they had him, a gentleman named Benny Rietveld on bass. Carl Perazzo was one of the percussionists. And then the other percussionist was Paoli Mejias. And then main kit, like I said, was Cindy Blackman Santana. And then there were two vocalists in addition to Santana, Andy Vargas and Ray Green. And then they had a gentleman named Tommy Anthony who was on the other guitar, and he did a little bit of backup vocals along with Santana. And actually, on one of the songs, Santana dropped the guitar and was playing a snare drum. So I thought that was pretty cool. The dude just does it all.
Dude, he is. I've said this, I feel like on here, I've definitely said it to you, Klep, but the band Santana has moved up my list so fast in the past year. And I honestly have to thank you for it, for putting that on the Stampede Shuffle. And it's just captivating music on all aspects. You know immediately that it is Santana from the first hit on the drums or the first note of Carlos just ripping your just face off. And it's so electrifying as well that it's usually in just a completely different language than what I understand, but I'm still able to appreciate it and follow it because it's that baseline that's able to connect all different languages. We're all speaking the same language at the end of the day, and it's just absolute Latin rock.
And I think one of the reasons why it works too is because obviously everyone wants music that's in their native language. It's just easier to understand what they're saying. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think what makes it work, and this is why Carlos is such a good guitar player too, is he is in like that upper level of guitar playing where like his guitar like serves the role of vocals. Like the vocalists are singing, they're saying something, but like the guitar is the singing. Like he is singing through the guitar.
He's an absolute just insane and legendary artist, and it's awesome to see that they're still touring. They're actually going down in July to Cincinnati, and I am very much considering to go see them, as well as a band called Ripe, which I really
Ooh.
really enjoy. They're on a Saturday. Carlos and the boys and girls are on the Thursday. But Carlos, if most people know out there, he got his just recognition from the OG Woodstock performance.
Oh yeah. And so it's interesting you say that. They started out the concert with a video of the Woodstock performance, and they opened up with none other than Soul Sacrifice.
Ripper.
Yeah. And so I guess before we dive into the set list, I'll just set the stage a little bit. So this one correction, it was in April, not March. It was April 16th at Soaring Eagle Casino in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Um, so for those who don't know Mount Pleasant, Michigan, that's where Central Michigan University is located. Go Chippewas. And it's actually Native American land. That's where the casino is. So like when we entered the casino, nobody looked at our ID or anything because you don't have to be 21 to gamble there. Like they operate by the Native American land rules. And like another thing that was interesting about it too is so while we're there, like, in Michigan, sports gambling is legal. So I'm taking out my phone trying to place bets on my FanDuel app. And it's like, well, sports gambling is not legal in Native American land. Didn't know. So I had to wait until we were outside of Mount Pleasant to place my bets. But yeah, it was the first concert I've ever seen that was in a casino, and the actual theater where the show took place was huge, way bigger than what I would have expected for a casino. But yeah, this was the Blessings and Miracle tour. They started off with 3 songs off the very first album, Santana: Soul Sacrifice, Jingo, Evil Ways. And then they go right into 3 songs off the second album, Abraxas: Black Magic Woman, Oye Como Va, and Samba Pati. And then from there, they go right into a song off of Santana 3, Everybody's Everything. So I thought that was a pretty cool way to
Whoa.
open.
Whoa. I had no idea. That is very, very just interesting that they would do that. I mean, it's like walking through their entire career.
Exactly. Just like 3 songs off the first, 3 songs off the second, another song off the third. And then even after that, they played She's Not There, which is off the album Moonflower, which I think is 1977. So we're 8 songs deep, and we haven't had anything that was after the year 1980. But after that, then we got into, it's like we just time warped ahead like 30 years and went to the Game of Love. And so if anyone remembers back in the early 2000s, this is off the album Shaman. This song was all over the radio because it had Michelle Branch on it. This is the one that goes a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Shadow with the kiss, and we'll hug to that.
Dude, I would have never what? I didn't know that was Santana.
Oh yeah, that's on his album.
What
Michelle
the
Branch
fuck?
was a featured artist on that.
Holy Holy shit.
And so then after that, they go on to 2 songs off the new album, The Blessings and Miracles, Joy, which features Chris Stapleton on it, and then Move, which features Rob Thomas on it. Where have we heard that one before?
Welcome back, Robbie.
Mm-hmm. And then they go into Life is for Living, Put Your Lights On, Corazon, Espinado. So we're like all 2000 Santana. And then we go back to Europa, Earth's Cry, Heaven's Smile, off of the album. What is it called? The one with the giant mushroom on it.
Fuck, I can
It's
see
the
it.
one with Let Me on it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're looking it up. We're looking it up. Amigos.
Nice.
Yeah, so that one's off Amigos. And then we zoom right back ahead to the 2000s with a little. Damn it, where'd my set list go? Where'd my set list go?
I'll take the assist. I'll take the assist.
2000s.
Maria.
Yes. And so that's off the same album that Smooth by Rob, with Rob Thomas. That one's on. Love of My Life with Dave Matthews and Carter Buford's off that one.
Every day.
Yep. And then they close out the main set with Fufu, another shaman song.
17 songs.
Excuse me.
Man, they're just still freaking ripping.
And so then we got songs. A nice 3, maybe 3.5, 4.5, depending on how you view it, song encore. So we start with Are You Ready, People? And after that song, just some of the most impressive drumming ever took place. They just let Cindy just destroy the kit for, probably 5 minutes. Like, she was doing everything, and she was just playing jazz style drumming on this rock kit with like 1,000,000 toms, and it just sounded crazy. And then after that, they hit you with Smooth. And one thing that was crazy too, because like you have all these different songs with all these different featured singers, Michelle Branch, Rob Thomas, Chris Stapleton. Like, obviously these people can't just all tour with Santana every time, but the singers that he had with him, they do an incredible job. And then what they closed with was a medley of Roadhouse Blues, the Doors song, and then Love, Peace, and Happiness, which is a track off of a joint album, I believe is like 2016, sometime around then, that Santana did with the Isley Brothers called Power of Peace. And that one was just an incredible way to close it out.
And
yes, by the end of it, my face was missing.
That's crazy that they went to the Doors song.
Oh, it was so good.
Which one stood out to you, Klep? What was your most memorable song out of those 20?
Man, probably Everybody's Everything, just because that's my favorite Santana album. That's all I wanted when I showed up. I was like, just give me at least one song off of Santana 3, and by track 7, I got it. So I would say that one, especially because if you're picking a song off of Santana 3, like, not that there's anything wrong with that choice at all, but I would have probably expected like Guajira. I would have liked No One to Depend On, but I didn't expect it because they haven't played that song live in a while. But yeah, I figured we'd get Guajira, and Everybody's Everything was pretty cool. That's one of my favorite songs off that album. So yeah, I'd say that one.
Fuck yeah.
Honestly, all of like the new stuff, Sounded really good too, like way better than I expected, because I think 70s Santana's got to be my favorite era, although 80s is close behind. And that's another interesting thing too. There was not a single 80s or 90s Santana song played. Well, I guess yes, because Supernatural is technically 1999, but that's a
Mhm.
little different than their early 90s albums. So yeah, not a single 80s Santana song and not a single early to mid 90s Santana song.
I mean, dude, it's just awesome what you just explained and how the different eras and whatnot, and ultimately the longevity of this band and just Carlos himself to keeping this thing going. You don't see it. It's them and the Stones. Like, I don't really know. I mean, I'm sure there are some out there, but like the longevity of it all, those are the two bands that come to mind, and it's
The
incredible to
Who
see
is the
them.
other one I can think of.
Yeah,
Because The Who, their first album, like My Generation, I believe that's either 1964 or 1965.
yeah, they're
It's
still going. So
mid
it's
60s.
funny you brought that up. I saw the Who the same year that I saw Santana in 2019 at Blossom as well, and they have a whole like orchestra behind them now, and it's definitely just like a huge feel. When I'm like, Santana, they definitely expanded their band, but there's pretty much keeping like that same lineup with instruments. Like I'm telling you, the Who had like 30 violins and like crazy amounts, and it was dope. Don't get me wrong, like it was very, very, very cool to see, and like a lot of their music, as we just experienced with Quadrophenia, requires a lot of that. But and then the Stones, man, they're just rolling. Like Charlie Watt passes away, and they're like, boom, announce another tour. Like we got the three just ready to roll.
Mm-hmm. And
But yeah,
the guy that they got to replace him was the same guy that toured with John Mayer.
you were saying that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
still upset that I didn't get to see it.
It's all right. I want to see John. I've seen him with the Dead, but I got to see him just by himself. But that day will come. But man, that was, I mean, it sounded like a kick ass concert. Like I said, I hope to see Santana in July down in Cincinnati, and then I can share my
And I
experience.
think either the day before or the day after, they're up at Pine Knob in Clarkston. I can't remember, but it's that first weekend in July, isn't
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah, it's like July 9th, I think, is the Thursday is when they're in Cincinnati. Um, well, yeah, check it out, Klep. That's not. I mean, you got a kick-ass lineup. You Santana, as we just posted today, is in Klep's top three favorite artist
Yes,
ever.
sir.
So obviously,
Yeah,
he's in the
and
know.
sort of like you, it was sort of like a rapid ascension, if you will. Like I probably first really started getting into Santana like oh whew, probably like 2018, 2019. So like, 3 years ago. Like the only songs I had really known were that Rob Thomas song Smooth and the Michelle Branch song Game of Love. And like I knew other songs, like I knew Soul Sacrifice, Oye Como Va, um, Evil Ways. And then I remember one time I was just driving back from my grandparents' house and I just threw on the first album, Santana, got the big lion on it. And I just remember just being in awe. And I was like, oh, this is serious.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah. And then yeah, like 20 albums later.
Here we are, and Klep's alive to tell the story.
hmm
Beautiful stuff. Well, I have a hot date to beat some ass in euchre, so
Ooh, beat it, beat it. Oh,
just
here.
beat it.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to look up the tour dates. But yeah, so I actually don't see. Oh, here it is. July 9th is that Riverbend
Mhm.
date. And then yeah, so the 8th they're in Noblesville, Indiana. The 6th they are at a venue that I want to go to so bad. It's called Star Lake Pavilion. It's in Burgettstown, Pennsylvania. It's not even really by Pittsburgh. It's like it's probably closer to Youngstown. It's like right on the Ohio Pennsylvania border, south of Pittsburgh and Youngstown. And It's just like right on a lake, hence the name Star Lake Pavilion. They're there July 6th, and then the 5th is when they're in DT and or Pine Knob in Clarkston, Michigan.
Well, I'm sure it won't take much convincing to get you to go to one of those.
Sponsor the Stallions, Santana. We're promoting your concerts.
We'll promote everything. You hear that, people? We will promote anything, everything. Hit up the Stallions. We're out here grinding. But besides that, you might not know. My name is Bruce.
I'm Klep.
And this has been another episode of Vinyl
Stallions.